Okay, welcome to this new reading. This one is with regard to growing pain. And with growing pain, what I mean is that sometimes when we are on our journey of self-discovery, on our journey of self-development whatsoever, at some point there is growth happening. We are growing, and this internal growing, or this growing of becoming ourselves, more or less, sometimes is painful because it means we leave versions of ourselves behind that used to serve us but so don't serve us anymore. And also, it might mean that whatever we are going through, I think everybody who is on this path and who's probably watching this video has already been through some growing happening within them, and therefore knows what I'm talking about. And sometimes what happens when we experience growing pains is that we actually start self-doubting, that we start questioning the path we are on, that we actually even might consider like stopping whatsoever, stopping our ideas, stopping to follow our dreams, stopping to subscribe to the path that is led by the heart. Sometimes in relationships, this might show up that probably we feel like we are the one putting the work in, and maybe we think of like, when will somebody else do their job and stuff like that. So there might be some, pain whatsoever going on, which then might throw us into some loops around that. And so this reading may serve to stop the loopings and instead of looping, rather encourage us, recharge us with trust in our path, trust in our commitment to the heart. And as always, there's a whole video about like my the baselines of my of the way I put those readings out, how you work with them and make them your own, which is connected to that concept of sacred self-gravity, which means that it's actually important how those messages land in your system. It's not about the message itself, it's about what comes up for you while you listen, while you tune in. Whatever it stirs in you is what's important for you in this moment. And trust that there's a reason for you to be watching this video right now. Trust in that inner guidance that led you here. And while you are connected with this inner guidance, I invite you to pick your pile. This time we have the first one is Tiger's Eye, the second is Lepidolite, and then there's a Sand Rose. So 1, 2, 3. And you might have already sensed that there's one pile that's specifically talking to you. And let's recharge your your support of trust and your storage of trust. So I'm going to put those away so that we can start with pile number 1, the Tiger's Eye. This time I'm better prepared and I have my tarot at hand. So let's see what's in storage for your growing pain. Okay, again, I'm so amazed immediately. So growing pain, and which card shows up? It's the Chariot. It's the trump number 7. And let's see what else is there. I'm going to say something why I started laughing just in a second. This one. Okay, this is already, it's connected to the energy of how I sense this crystal as well, because it's like a fiery one. It's I'll get into the content just right away. Okay, no more questions. I think we can leave it at that for now. So it's actually a summary of the topic I put out there. And it's interesting because I'm recording this video right before there's a square of Jupiter and Saturn. So that square is going to happen tomorrow. I'm recording this on the 23rd of December, 2024. And Jupiter is like growth and Saturn is like responsibility. And sometimes there is like this tension between the two forces, I would say. And a square is an aspect that brings about some tension. And to kind of cushion all the messages that come through now with some love and compassion, the tension we are feeling is for us, not against us. Maybe you can play with that perspective and see how it helps you. So the first card is the Chariot, and the Chariot is if you go with that concept of the 3 lines in the major arcana, this is the end of the first line, which means that we have established a persona. We have established someone who we feel we want to be in that world. We have established an own individuality, and then there is so much this person on the card, she is about to embark on a journey. You can see that there's I feel there's already some movement in here, because you see those dust clouds in the back. So she's probably going quite quickly, and she's left behind the city. She owns her wand here. And if you look at her face, she's really committed. She kind of knows what she wants, and also she's going on an adventure. And I feel like the energy of Jupiter and Saturn, which I just mentioned, it's also the meeting point of the adventurous energy of Sagittarius, and then the more down-to-earth energy of Capricorn, getting things done. And it's where those energies meet, that we still continue to have our own the responsibilities for what we created, but also we feel there's a next stage to be experienced. And so there's some leaving behind, and there's some moving forward as well, with a lot of self-confidence. So this card is also about, in terms of growing pain. The growing pain arises when you finally decide to move on. When you finally decide, okay, I built this persona, I built this image of myself, I built this version of me who I can be in society. But now I feel okay, I've played that level. Now it's time to shed skins. And this is where the devil also comes in. The devil is, I actually do love the devil card, because to me it's always a lot of confirmation that I'm leaving some loops. You can even see the loop here in the picture, and there are loops around those necks. But those loops, they are so big that you could just take them off. You are not tied in a certain behavior. Rather, for me, why I say this card is a lot of confirmation. For me, this card says you are about to leave a version behind. You are about to discharge a pattern that you used to live with for probably your whole life. And there is, there's some liberation of sorts going on. So maybe this message can help you when you are experiencing growing pain right now. This message of the card could be for you that, actually the reason why you are feeling growing pain is because you are actually growing. Because sometimes it can feel so frustrating, and you can feel stuck in the loop, and maybe you feel everything is hard. And the reason why you feel, or there might be some context why you feel this way in this situation, that is actually already that actually only shows up because you are growing. So it's actually a confirmation that you are changing, and this is why you experience that. Growing pain is something that we physically we experience in our youth. When we actually grow physically, then all of the body that is growing with us is kind of stretching and adapting to a new version, and this is where the pain comes in. And so there if there were no growth, there would not be any pain. So the pain you're feeling is a confirmation for you already being on exactly the path you were called to be on at this point. And this is interesting that this one comes up in this context, the 7 of Wands. For me, this is a card of hypervigilance. There's a lot of probably frustration, but also being accustomed, like being kind of, it's a familiar feeling to feel stressed. It's a familiar feeling for her to feel worn out. It's a familiar feeling for her to be hypervigilant, always on the lookout. What do I have to do next? What is the next thing I have to do? What, like, also this is the fiery energy from this crystal, I feel. That the version you are probably leaving behind is a version who always needs to be doing stuff and also always needs to be on the lookout. And there is this tension. There is this, I need to do stuff and I need to do this and that, and I have to do it all on my own, and there will be the next attack soon. So there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of like being on the lookout, being in this hypervigilant state, which for our nervous system is really, the longer it stays, the more growing pain will add for us to continue moving forward. So maybe the reason why or an area where the growth is happening for you right now is to let go of that need to be doing stuff, to let go of that attitude that you have to do everything on your own. Maybe like there's also some issue around asking for help or also receiving help. Sometimes we don't even have to ask for it. It's just in our minds that we think we have to do it all alone, so that we don't even realize that the help is all around us. So maybe this is an invitation for you to find some relief for your growing pain by relying more on those people who are actually waiting to offer their support. Yes. And then let's work our way to the light. So first we have this archetype. Oh, I love that. Isn't this card just gorgeous? So doing this work and going through growing pain, sometimes we feel frustrated, sometimes we feel stuck. Sometimes we are like, why am I even doing this? It's so hard. And so this card to me feels like a motivation to keep going. So you know that there is a reason for that pain occurring, which means that you already are growing. You are already decided to go on that new adventure. You already are probably even to a certain degree aware of those old patterns that you used to function within society that you now leave behind. And this card feels like the light on the end of the tunnel, that like your North Star, something you are walking towards. And this is why the pain is coming up. And it says the poet. And for me, that's a deeply, deeply creative energy, also with the flowy colors. It's and the birds for me have the energy of visions. And the poet like is connected to their creativity, is connected to the beauty of life, the beauty of being on earth, being a soul in a human body. And after leaving behind the city, after leaving behind that version of you that you used to function in society, and after probably leaving behind this habit of doing, this habit of being in action, this is how the poet, your inner poet, can actually surface. Because it needs calm, it needs pausing, it needs stillness, is what I'm getting. It needs stillness for you to connect and reconnect and stay connected with your creativity. It needs stillness to perceive the beauty that is there. And this is, I hope for you as well, that there is this alluring quality in this archetype, so that you can sense that there is a reason why you felt pulled to walk that path, which now might have gotten you into some growing pain. Okay, speaking of the intention and the focus, now here we have the full moon in Scorpio, and it says it's time to release negativity. So again, it's like it's this this passage, and probably even a rite of passage from this stage to this stage. So leaving behind the hypervigilance, which at times and in society probably was your go-to strategy and was important for you to stay alive. And now you transition into a new way of being, which is connected to inspiration. And working from inspiration requires idleness. And I love that in the English language, there is this difference between laziness and idleness. And so with the full moon in Scorpio and time to release negativity, the growing pain factor sometimes leads us to kind of wanting to shy away. So no shying away in the full moon of Scorpio. So there is this determination in your energy to really step out of the loop, step out of everything that kept you. And with this energy, it's the Scorpio energy is like you really feel that pull there. And then with the negativity here, I feel like this is connected to this hypervigilance, and I have to do it all alone. And there's a question for you here. What are the stories of your mind? Why do you need to be doing all of that? Why do you need to believe you're doing it all on your own? And what are you telling yourself there? And there are invitations within, regarding the stories you're telling yourself, there are invitations to relativize them. I'm not sure if that's a word, but I guess you get what I want to say. Ooh, wow, this is beautiful. So, you're in a birth process. You're in the process of birthing your soul. You are becoming more of who your soul is. This is like the stage after being the version that society needed you to be. And you will find ways to balance both. You will find ways to connect them. You see the yellow color here is like repeating. So it's the sky above the city, and also it's the sky above wherever you go next. So there is connecting tissue of that person you created and the soul version of you. So it's as if you created this mask in society to a certain degree for now birthing your soul into that version. So you don't need to literally go on an adventure. You don't need to leave everything behind and burn everything behind you. But maybe you created that like a small hut, and within that hut, in the midst of all that your life is right now, you are birthing your soul into that. And there again, we have the beauty, which is so connected to what I said to the poet already. Maybe this hut I was just referring to, maybe this hut is your temple of beauty. And now it becomes even more beautiful because you get ready to actually see the beauty, because you stop hustling so much, you stop being active all the time and start actually seeing the beauty. It's not, you don't need an actual change of scenery to see the beauty. It's just as soon as soul arrives there, it's all around you. Could it be more poetic? Just say yes. So yeah, to all of the messages that came through here, pile number 1, this one was like a home run. I feel it was so clear and so full of support. So how can you say even more yes to all the pain you are currently experiencing? By releasing the stories your mind is telling you there, and by focusing on what you're about to, instead of being pushed by pain, how can you switch that perspective to being pulled by beauty, pulled by your vision, pulled by that soul energy that's arriving? And so this, I just had to include this deck. It's German, but I'll translate. And it says, clear guidance. It's clear guidance. So you are called to walk that path. And it's actually even about being guided by your heart. Your heart is your compass, and you are called to move forward. So this is like, there's a lot of dynamic in this one as well. So it connects, and therefore also kind of closes the circle, connects very much with the Chariot energy, which says like, there's no other choice than go through that growth that you're in right now. Yes, this is it, pile number 1. I hope you could get a lot of stuff moving in your system. Maybe you just want to sit with it a little further and let everything kind of sink in, see how it relates to where you're currently at. Ask yourself what else is there for you to release to be able to give an even more full-hearted yes. Thank you, and take care. Okay, we are ready for pile number 2, the lepidolite. And for pile number 2, let's see. Where is there growth happening? Okay, it's already there. And what is your pain telling you? What can help you as a relief for that pain? Okay, another major arcana. This is Judgment. It's Trump number 20. And again, that's very, very much about growth, I feel. I'm going to speak to that in a second. Just let us see what else is there for you. Number 2. Okay, we have a jumper. So this time it's Cups energy, which is way more dreamy, and also with the lepidolite instead of the fiery tiger's eye. It's like, for me, it's very much connected with subtle energies and the dream realm also. Okay, nope. Okay, okay. So probably when you see this card, you can kind of sense your your growing pains. This is often how they feel, I feel, because you are kind of like, the person in this card is kind of trying to numb herself with all the swords in her body. And sometimes this might even be a good idea to distract for a bit, because swords are thoughts. And I mean, just one sword, like for example, the one in her throat, might have already killed her. And so there's actually no need for the other 9. But also the 10 energy means that like the 10s in the tarot are always like kind of the end. So it's the end of a cycle. And for me, I actually do love the 10 of swords. For me, it carries the energy of like wanting to find out everything until the end. So the reason why probably you're you're experiencing growing pain right now is because you actually stayed very long in a situation. You kind of discovered all details of that situation that there were to discover. You were very detail oriented. You were really studying why whatever you left, whatever you are growing out of right now, has come to its termination for you, has no further added value for you. So you've played it through and you've been very thorough with it. So probably this card also invites you to now not avoid in terms of distracting anymore, but rather realizing, okay, I'm done with this experience. So this is actually a card that really, kind of, there's a lot of, with pile number 1, I just mentioned this difference between being pushed by pain, or rather pulled by vision, pulled by something new. And here I feel you have a lot of experience with being pushed by pain, but also because sometimes this has this negative connotation of like, I didn't move in the right time, or I stayed too long and that's why it got so painful. And I have a different perspective on it, because I feel like for some people of us, and probably even situation is different, but some of us, or sometimes it's important for us to really, really, really be sure. And that's why we linger. That's why we stay longer. That's why we wait until there are even like 10 swords piercing our body and adding to the pain. And so there's nothing wrong with it. We just wanted to be sure there's nothing left anymore for us. And we've really made all learning experiences that this situation wanted to bring us. So we really stayed there. And this like brings us to this card, the Judgment. And in our society, judgment kind of has a bad connotation, and probably it's also to the Christian religion, due to the Christian religion, that like there is this punishing God or something, and that Judgment Day means that you are confronted with all that you did, and like, did you do good, then you can return to God, and if not, you burn in hell or something like that. And I just want to address that, because that's not how I view either the Christian God or this card, for that matter. So here we can see that all those people, they are actually kind of, there's this energy of salvation somehow, and this angel is kind of granting that, or they're in connection, they're like, yeah, connected to each other. And you see that they are like, it looks like a graveyard, they are coming out of their graves and are kind of resurrected. So this feels like the passage you are in right now with the growing pain you're experiencing. It's the story of resurrection. So there is some death in that situation where you studied everything, every bit, and where you turned every stone and are very familiar with everything that there was to discover. And so this version is kind of dying, and there is this resurrection going on here. And because from the in the minor arcana, all the suits are connected to one element, and so we have the air element here and the water element here. So it's coming from the rational version to the more feeling version, I feel. And with the Six of Cups, this card is often associated with pleasant memories, or like maybe it's not a resurrection means it's the same energy. It's not something entirely new. It's something that's been with you forever, which just now gets like clarified, which now gets cleansed somehow. So it might be connected to a version of you that you lost in childhood, and which now kind of might come back to you. It might also have to do with healing memories of childhood. So if you don't have an immediate connection to because for some of us, when we were still young, we were connected to our dreams, we were connected to our intuition as well. So some of us might have had like imaginary friends, which the grown-ups couldn't see, but like the children could see. And then there might have been a story where you were not taken seriously with all that you were perceiving, and then you cut off and turned the other way and just stayed with the logical mind. So this is a story I witness a lot with my clients. So this might be something that is that's coming back to you. But also, if like your childhood wasn't like that, it's in this card, it's also about, so there might be stuff coming up from childhood, and which actually connects to the growing pain. So it might be painful to readdress those memories. So if that's what's coming up for you, give yourself enough space to just be with those feelings. Again, you are in this process of resurrection, and we are not here to continue holding grudges, which actually keep us trapped in the past, while actually there is no, like, time is an illusion, is what I like to say, because we only have the present moment. So it's the question of how are you receiving those feelings in this present moment? How are you dealing with them right now? And the time for distraction is over. So everything that you sense under the surface, you are ready to let it come up. You can hold it. See what else. Which support do you have? Okay, so here we have the mentor, and there's this wise energy of the owl. This might even be like Jupiter. I feel like this fiery planet. So maybe Jupiter is your mentor. Jupiter says, let's grow, let's stay curious, let's stay playful, let's expand. And you can see the expansion of the wings. So maybe the mentor energy that is present with you, it might be someone like someone in your lived reality, but it might also be from the subtle field, and this is like also connected to the water and the lepidolite. So yeah, maybe you want to open up a little more to your subtle senses and see what's coming through there, because you are being mentored from there. And so the idea is like, it's within you that you receive those energies, that you receive this wisdom. And yeah, you are kind of becoming your own mentor here by studying your experience, by because you probably are this very thorough person that really wants to understand a lot. And so now you are accessing this new stage in order to study a lot there. So yeah, maybe you can hold this mentor energy also in the way you observe yourself. What if you were observing yourself from like beyond and from above, and then you see your patterns, you see how you might have treated yourself even, and how actually the growing pain that you're experiencing is because you finally realized how much you were hurting, and you finally admitted to yourself that that stage of you, or that phase in your life, is now yeah, over. I love that. It just said like this perspective from higher up, and then we have this here. Look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius. And like we are not, like this video is yeah, I mentioned the transition from Sagittarius season to Capricorn season. So it's bringing that bigger picture into the nitty-gritty that you might be dealing with while applying all that already came through. So if you are experiencing growing pain because of some past memories, because of some kind of internal habits, thought patterns that you were kind of yeah, probably even hurting yourself with, now it's time to look at the bigger picture. Now it's time to focus and direct those energies. So yeah, what is the vision here? Where do you feel you are growing into? Why are you experiencing this pain right now? And not stay in the sensation of the pain just for the sake of it, or in order to kind of burden yourself with it, but rather know that you enter, like it's like a lake. It's the pain lake, and you want to cross it because on the other coast, you know that there will be this new experience waiting for you. And so if you look at the bigger picture, you realize, oh, I'm actually progressing. I'm swimming through that lake of pain and I'm getting somewhere. While when you are in the perspective of being in the lake, you just see water all around you. And that might seem exhausting. It might feel suffocating to be surrounded by all this painful water, by all this painful surroundings. So as soon as you zoom out, you realize there is movement in that pain. You are not stuck. Stagnation is also not a principle that's part of your nature. And I feel with this card, there's an intensely soothing energy. I feel again there is some, yeah, so there is some fire energy, but it's like very calm. It's rather the warmth. It's like, yeah, a relaxed version of that. And the child over here, the rose child, they can just relax. They can just know that they are held. They can trust. They're not alone in this experience. They are held. And this is what will help them. So this might support, like, because with this pile, I feel like the pain is really intense. And you have this support around you. Yeah, we already were guided to the subtle realm a couple of times now. And I feel this energy is also, yeah, maybe we just pause for a second here and just let you absorb those frequencies. because they feel like very, very loving, very compassionate. And maybe it's time for you to, because in this switch from this version of you to this version of you, it's also a call forward for your inner self-compassion. How can you grant yourself this compassionate energy, this more loving energy? How can you open up to love? Maybe this is even part of the story. Yeah. And it's, can you trust that you have it in you to open up to love? So let's see what we else have here. And again, there's the intuition speaking. It's all coming together. So this also feels like a support for the path you are walking. So it feels like this is part of what motivates you to swim to the other side of that pain lake, because you know that your intuition is what wants to get expressed even more. And this is what ultimately will open you up for love and feeling connected. So this is why you are in that pain. You are actually swimming through that lake. There is movement, and it's not for nothing. It's actually for everything your soul is longing for. It's for, connection. It's for really becoming this rose child. The rose child for me is very much connected with the cups energy we have here. Like this sensitive being that you actually are, to let that, to allow yourself to be it. Because as soon as you let go of all those beliefs that kept you in this painful energy, the way you were talking with yourself, as soon as you let go of that energy, overcome it, take that bigger perspective on yourself and on everything that happens to you and for you and through you, by doing that, you will actually realize that it is, I don't know how to say it. Like the message that I'm receiving is there is no suffering for an open heart. Like the pain is not the enemy. It's not a bad thing. And I love this discernment between pain and suffering. For me, is very crucial in this context, because this is suffering. You are mulling over the same stuff over and over again, and kind of like, really hurting yourself in the process. And while actually what you can also do is open your heart, and then there's this whole different energy. There's this sensation of bliss that comes through when we feel this higher guidance that comes in. So it's very out there, this message. It's very intense. It's very powerful. And I know my words don't convey it, but probably you sense the energy anyway. And here we have a very powerful card, the Holy Grail. So the Holy Grail is like the reason why you are on that journey. It's the call forward. It's like the Holy Grail is not something different from you. It's actually that it's connected to that rose child within you. It's this innocent quality within yourself that is resurfacing, that wants to come up. That now, and it feels like, now is the time for that to come up. And this card, it's German, but I had to use this deck because it's just so beautiful. And again, we have intuition here. So it says heavenly signs, and that those signs and symbols are showing you the way, and that you are called to trust your intuition. So this is the message that's all over this spread, and also with the energy of that crystal. So you are really called to trust in that. The growing pain you are experiencing is because the shedding of the versions you were and you are becoming. And maybe this is also a call for you to connect even more with the subtle sensations that you are experiencing. You don't need to explain them away, which might have been a pattern that you were used to. Instead, you are called to really trust it and give it a try, and to know that you are eventually arriving on the other side of that lake and end up feeling a deep, deep, deep connection. So I feel there's a lot of spiral energy here, there, also here in this card. So yeah, it's coming full cycle. I'm gonna let that sink in for a bit, because this one's really, it feels so different from pile number one. So wherever you're at in this process of healing, in this process of switching from information to intuition, there might be people in your surroundings who just don't completely get you. But the most important thing is that you yourself get yourself. It's important that you get you. And this is your holy grail, that you commit to that which you are deep, deep, deep down in your core, which might be different from what you gave to others up until now. Okay, so this is it for pile number 2. I hope you could gain something out of it. Again, check in with how the messages feel, where were you guided, which situations of your life were probably surfacing, where were your thoughts going. In all of that, there is intelligence. In all of that, there is information. So take a look at that, collect your data, sit with it, be with it, feel it. And yeah, trust in your capacity to feel. This brings us to pile number 3. The Sun Rose. I'm not sure if it's called that way in English, but this is how I call it now. So, pile number 3. We can only feel growing pain when there's actually growing going on. So let's see where you are currently growing and what relief is there, so that you don't get lost in doubt, but rather trust in that beautiful development you are currently in the midst of experiencing. We have some water, some earth, and the Lovers. Okay, so the reason for your growing pain. Well, no. Of course, like again, it's a sacred self-gravity reading, so just observe the whatever surfaces in you. What I get from these cards is that a reason, or what might be connected with your growing pain right now, is that you are cutting through illusions, that you are confronted with where you formerly projected your needs and desires onto other people, and are now brought back to yourself, are now brought back to realizing that it's actually you who is in charge, which is a good thing, because this means that you don't have to wait for anybody. You are not dependent on anybody to fulfill your needs and desires, or do something for you, not even like healing you. You are able to do all of that for yourself and through yourself. So let's go in there step by step. So this is the Lovers, and this card, for me, it doesn't necessarily have to do with relationships or like lovers in that sense. But what happens with probably how it relates to lovers is that when we are in the beginning of a relationship, we sometimes tend to project perfection onto the other one, like that the other party is the one fulfilling us. The other party is the reason why we're feeling so good when we have a new crush, when we are freshly in love. But it's actually like this might be at the root of the growing pain right now, that this is not actually it's not something inside of the other person that makes us feel like that. It's us who are able to feel like that. And the other person might serve as a reminder for us that those feelings are within us. But the other one is not the one completing us. we are complete within ourselves. So maybe you are in a in a in an in a phase of your development, of your growing, where you are, where like the direction of that growth that is happening within you might be directed at you realizing that you are whole within yourself. It wasn't former circumstances, it wasn't other people, it has been you all along. And the growing pain might also be that you were kind of, stuck in this illusion of projecting your wholeness onto others, making yourself dependent on situations. And the Page of Pentacles. So you can see this person is just like, actually, I feel like they're holding this pentacle, but they're actually looking above it somehow, or like, there's a sense of like something going slightly, like something being slightly off. And so the pentacle for me is the merging of our soul energy with the material energy. So it could be some projects, it could be how we relate to the material realm. And here it feels as if this projection onto others also happened, not only with persons, but also with the projects and with the way the soul's energy got translated into this realm. And then we have the Five of Cups here, and you can see that this person is focused on the 3 cups that spill their water, and kind of seems oblivious to the fact that there are still 2 standing here. So it might be a reminder of your resources. So with the, like, this message of projecting that came with this card, it might be that this message enters your system and you feel like called out or judged. And maybe it's time for you to look what you already have within you, to look where you already were connected with your own energy, and to sense into that. So with this energy, with the energy of a page, it's page energy is, to me, it's very curious, it's playful. It doesn't share, like, for example, the knight or the king has a very intense responsibility, and here there's much more, it's much more casual. And so maybe this is an energy to help you with that growing pain, to kind of come into that attitude that it's not super serious, and it doesn't need to be. You are doing this primarily in order to arrive even more at who you truly are, arrive even more at, like, in your own center of gravity. And you are doing that already. You have proven it in the way you dealt with emotions so far. So there's a lot of, like, cheering you up cosmically. It's like giving you credit for the development you've taken. And to have this projection is actually super helpful, because it helps you to see what you are seeking. What is it you are drawn to? What is it you actually feel like you lack? And it's important to address this, not in terms of, okay, then I need somebody to refill it, but rather in terms of starting to realize that these resources are already within you. You are whole. This is a very important message that comes through here. And this energy is also kind of connected to Gemini, which means, and like I mentioned that for pile number 1, I'm recording this video just the day before Saturn and Jupiter are squaring each other, exactly, like they are going back and forth all the time throughout this year, and I think sometime next year as well. But right now it's almost exact. And Jupiter is currently in Gemini. And there again, we have this energy of curiosity, which is a Gemini thing. And also the energy of communication and how we relate to others. So sometimes, and maybe this is where growing pain comes in, maybe you've been focused a little too much on how to take care of others, and to mirror, or like to watch and observe all of their reactions to your behavior. And now you realize that you're depleting your own energy. And maybe now it's time you start trusting into this principle that when you fill your own cup first, this is something that through you also enters into that system, enters into that relationship. And it's way less controlled. It's just something you don't have to do that. It's not something you make happen. It's something that comes through the mechanics of energy, I would say. So yeah, I don't know if I conveyed that with clear words, because it's actually it's a big topic, relationships, and I love to speak about how we relate to each other. For example, I also like to have in mind, why do we seek relationship? Why do we seek to connect with other people? Because oftentimes we have a lot of projections also onto relationships, what they should do for us. And maybe you can have this new look at what is going on, and to kind of start having that relationship mirror back what's actually going on within yourself. What if everything that you observed actually had to do with you? And not in the sense of like you are guilty, it's all your fault. That's absolutely not what I'm saying, but rather in a very empowering way of knowing that you are the driving force in your life. Okay, again, we have aletheia, which is the truth. And for me, this feels connected to that energy, because with all the projections going on, so maybe now you are ready to claim more of your own truth, and also not to shy away from what surfaces. Sometimes we have our judgments run so deep that we don't even in front of ourselves want to admit what is coming up. But now you have this moment of truth, you have this moment of clarity, you have this growing pain, and you can it's as if the growing pain were like the red ribbon, and you can go and follow it to the deepest core of where that pain is coming from, and which pattern it was at its root, why it's causing so much pain. And the pain is coming because you are leaving a situation where you were probably over-adaptive, and now you're not anymore. And this causes pain because there's friction. So probably it's also about giving the others time to adapt as well. And yeah, you are allowed to be this feeling person that you are. And then we have, this one is beautiful. You can see the butterfly, which is a symbol of transformation, and it says, have faith in your dreams, and it's the waxing crescent moon. So the energy you are seeding, you can see all those plants, the energy you have been seeding, like you have pulled in all those relationships because you wanted to observe something, you wanted to remember something about yourself. And for me, this feels like not necessarily your completely conscious dreams, but rather like also the dreams and the longings of your soul. And these, like, you are called to have faith in them, because they are what are called, like these dreams are what is calling you to move forward, why you actually have so much growing going on that there can actually be a growing pain. So trust this energy that is guiding you there, even if you don't have it like super consciously. You can get it more and more and more and more conscious by observing the truth that got mirrored back from your relationships. Wow, that's a powerful card. It's the Lady of Great Power. And this is the game it feels like a lot of up leveling here, because when we internalize is a bad word, because often we internalize like stuff that's limiting us. But what I mean is, as soon as you turn your your lens inward. As soon as you don't try to blame others and blame the relationship, blame the situation, or blame yourself for choosing poorly or whatever, as soon as you let go of these inner beliefs, there is this great power that is coming out. As soon as you arrive at your inner truth, there's great power there. It's like this, for me, speaks to pretty much the essence of what I call sacred self-gravity, which is like this self-responsibility. And therefore, a deep, deep, deep empowerment. And it takes a lot of courage. So for the courage part, ask this little guy over here, the page energy, with its curiosity and its playfulness, to support you in that. And so the car body is like this. Again, we have a lot of spiral-like energy, so it makes sense because we are in, like, growing pain means we are also connected with how it was before. Like, growing pain means that we kind of are in between that new version and that older version, and those changes are currently being implemented more and more into the material realm, into this bodily, in the physical plane. And this is also why the car body shows up, which is a you could compare it to like a part of your auric field, like a layer of your auric field. And for me, this has to do with the lover's energy in terms of how it's the auric field through which we get into contact with each other. And so maybe if you are judging people around you or yourself in relationship to a person, maybe it helps to realize that a lot of what's going on interpersonally is actually energetic mechanics happening in your auric field. So it's nothing personal, and it serves as a way to access more of this truth energy. It's a way to, like, by seeing those patterns, those interwoven patterns, kind of seeing this third quality that arises in this specific encounter. By observing that, you can realize more of who you truly are, of the truth of who you are. And remember when I mentioned those butterflies transformation? Here we have this card, which says things are changing at a cellular level. And this card speaks of deep healing. And I feel this is what also connects to the car body, that there is a deep, deep, deep healing going on. And have trust in the timing. This also, for me, is somehow connected to the page energy. And now I feel like those yellow little sparks also look like butterflies to me. So there's a lot of transformation going on for pile number 3, that's for sure. And what I wanted to address is that page energy. It's a childlike energy. It's very the child gets like, the child isn't aware of the time passing. It's just committed to the task so much, it's committed to its current game so much that it's oblivious of time passing. And I feel this is support for your growing pain. I mean, in time of a very painful episode, of course, time matters because we actually want to get out of that pain as soon as possible. But, and I mentioned this in pile 2 as well, there is a difference for me between suffering and pain. And there's this quote from Buddha who supposedly said that pain, you cannot avoid pain, but you can avoid suffering. It's something like, suffering is actually a choice you make. And I feel this with the 5 of Cups. So it's your choice to look at the cups that are spilled, or to just turn around and see what is there still. And for this transformation within this episode you are going through, maybe it's you can connect with the playful element there, with like curiosity, with like just whatever comes up, to be curious, like who will you detect? It's as if you are getting to know yourself on a completely new level. And there is great power in that. And this one, again, German, I'm going to translate. And there's some additional information here. So yeah, sometimes there's stuff on the surface that needs to be scratched away to see what is like the purity and the cleanliness underneath, and also the innocence underneath. And this card, it says like it's a layer of tears, and it's time to really allow your feelings, to let it flow, and to find time for a goodbye and sort of redemption. So this might be connected to a relationship with a person or a relationship with a pattern of yours. And also when we let go of patterns of ours, and this is often when growing pain actually shows up, sometimes those old patterns, like the cups that were spilled, it's not bad that they have been there, and it's not bad that they're leaving, but they want to be also acknowledged for the time they spent with us. So yeah, give yourself time, oblivious of time, just as long as it needs. There's no right or wrong when it comes to feeling. I would just say that not feeling for a long period of time might at some point catapult you into new growing pain. But that cast aside, yeah, feeling like there is no good way to feel, there's no bad way to feel. You just let those feelings be, and you are called to be present with them in this energy of truth. So what are you feeling in this moment? What is it that's actually there? And don't judge yourself for it. It can be anything. It can be something related to anything that I said. It can be something entirely different. The most honest, the most truthful thing to do is to just be with what is in that moment. And this is what gets you to this place of great power, where the divine bliss just radiates through you into the world, into your surroundings as well. So yeah, that's it for pile number 3. I hope you could take something from this reading that will support you and probably help, like a little relief for your growing pain. Know that you are committed to that pathway, and that's why growing pain is actually showing up. So give yourself some credit for where you're at. Give yourself some credit for the transformation that has already happened, and for your commitment so far. And keep going. Your timing. There is no rush in healing. And this is another quote: you can't rush magic. And I feel this spread, there's a lot of magic going on. Trust it. So yeah, that was the reading for like the growing pain remedy, growing pain relief. I hope you found some relief. I hope you take a lot of these messages with you in order to ground this new you that is about to pop out and be fully seen, fully visible. And I hope to see you next time. Stay safe.